is the overwhelming support I've received from all areas. I think that over the last few days, not only the goodwill messages I've had from friends and people that I know in and outside the game, but also the nation as a whole. And I think that for me, that gives me a very warm feeling about taking up this new position today, and obviously very proud to be named the New England manager today, and really look forward to the task in hand and trying to qualify first for the World Cup and then move on from there.
You have a well-earned reputation for bringing the best out of the players at your disposal, not just physically, but from a mental point of view. In the light of what happened at Euro 2016, how important might that line of expertise you have be for the England senior team?
Yes, I mean, in all areas, I think that I will exploit all areas for the players' benefit. I think that the key element for me would be to get amongst all the staff that England have in place at this moment in time, and talk through thoroughly about the programme going forward in all areas, and particularly psychologically. I think that the pressure that comes on players, particularly at international, is something that we may look at in a little bit more depth and see whether we can help in any way, shape or form. In the Premier League it's very similar, because it's week in and week out. The pressure's got ever greater as the money's got bigger, but the whole package, it's for me in all areas, you know, coaching, tactics, nutrition, fitness coaching, strength and conditioning, and players' response to that today I've always found to be excellent, certainly in the last few clubs that I've managed, and I'm sure the England elite team will be exactly the same when we join up.
Can you tell us at this stage whether Wayne Rooney will continue to be England captain, and whether he may have a role in the squads coming up?
No, that's far too early to make any predictions in that area, and I'm going to leave that until we meet all the players and I get all the coaching staff together behind the scenes and plan for obviously the internationals in September. So it's first day in, it's getting my feet under the table and meeting everybody here at St George's. I think it's very important that I base myself from here. I think that I'm going to have an office in fact, I've nicked Dan's already, so I've kicked him out. So, and of course, as you can see in the audience, Sammy's joining me for the second time, which is pleasing for me, because not only did we have a great time at Bolton in the time we were there, but also I'm going to rely on his international experiences over many years as well. So he's going to be one of many that are going to join me in the near future, hopefully, which will make an announcement if and when it's all agreed.
How would you define your style of management, Sam?
Pragmatic. I think that choosing styles or systems depends on the players available, and then depends on who we're playing. And my coaching technique is to try and give the players the opportunity to win a football match wherever they're playing, whether it be home or away, whether it be at Wembley or not at Wembley, and to make them aware of the opposition, which may change the style of how we play. The individuals, of course, and collectively as a team is very important. I think the bonding of the team is exceptionally important while we're all together, trying to create a good team spirit and have some fun. You know, the game of football is to be enjoyed, and I've enjoyed my life in the game for many years now. So as the pinnacle of my career, which this job is, I want to enjoy this the most. So I can only do that with everybody that works for me and works around me.
You spent years in the Premier League, and obviously you have great relationships with the managers at the moment. Now that you've become England manager, does that change? Does it become harder?
Probably. You know them so well? I think that I will try my best to deliver the player back to the football club in the best possible condition when he's been with us, because this facility here and the people that we have at this facility can allow us to do that. Obviously we can't predict who's going to perhaps get injured while they're with us, but we'll do everything they can to keep all the England players fit for the team first, for the internationals first, and then obviously send them back to their clubs. For me to get around the Premier League football clubs as much as I can to try and get a feel on building those relationships will be obviously very important as time goes on.
Just listening to you sitting there, I get a real sense of a man who's very excited by it.
Very, yeah. So I think that it was 10 years since I was last interviewed, and to sit here is obviously a huge thrill for me. I think that I think I fit the chair. I hope I do. I think I've got the experience to pass on and not only challenge the England team but challenge myself. I think that 5 Premier League clubs has given me a huge amount of experience, and nobody else in the Premier League has managed 5 different Premier League clubs. Man management is my biggest asset, to try and help players, 1, enjoy themselves, and 2, be better than they already are. So hopefully that will work on the England side. I think it worked everywhere else I've been, so I'll have that approach in this job.
Sam, many thanks. Martin, may I ask you the qualities that impressed you most, which led you to want to appoint Sam Allardyce?
Well, first I can say that Sam's delighted to be here, not as much as I'm delighted to have Sam here, and that's true for Dan and Amanda as well. We look for 3 things. Strength of character, because, as Sam said, the pressure's great. Tactical nous, and then someone who can inspire. You need all those things together, because look at the players or the teams that do well in these tournaments. They've got a strong team identity and high quality players, so you need someone to bring those 2 together. His track record embodies that. Certainly the way that he impressed us at the various interviews we did, gave us great confidence that he wants to apply that to the international stage.
Just finally from me, one to you, Dan. How much are you looking forward to working with Sam? He's based here at St George's Park, like yourself, in terms of the future for England moving forward.
Yeah, one of the things that we did was build St George's Park 3 or 4 years ago, which has enabled us, like any club in the country, to have a training ground and a base. We have 24 England teams from here, 16 within the technical division. So what's really important is that the senior manager can work with the development coaches, have a look at the pipeline of young players we have coming through the system. We feel we've got some really good young players. We had the youngest squad at the Euros, and the success of the 21s, the 19s and the 17s over the last couple of years, and specifically over the last few months. I think we've got lots of good coaches and players in the pipeline, and Sam will be able to work with them on a hands-on basis, just like you would do in a club.
Thanks, Amanda. Hi, Sam. Congratulations on the job, sir. You come into this job with England at rock bottom, pretty much. Bombed out of the World Cup in 5 days flat, at the Euros, knocked out by a minnow in Iceland. How difficult a challenge do you face?
Well, I think that I think if you see over the years, I wouldn't suggest it's rock bottom. I think it was disappointing, but I don't think it's rock bottom. I think the part of my expertise over the last few years is people see me as to be able to go in and turn a club around very quickly, and I suppose that comes around by sort of taking West Ham up, saving Blackburn Rovers, and now saving Sunderland. I consider myself to be much more than that personally, but obviously that was the sort of label that I was left with. But so I can turn things around pretty quickly, and I can get amongst teams, staff, and try and create a successful journey. And I think the successful journey starts by us all pulling together. And my take on it is this: is the most important thing are the players. That's why we're all here. Every member of staff that works for the FA works for the England team, going on the field and trying to help them to win. So the support from the backroom staff, particularly the ones I'm going to work with closely, are going to be the key element, taking the way forward to help the players achieve what we all want to see is the England team being successful. And for me, that is going to be the greatest challenge for me in my long career, and hopefully I'll be as successful as I've been at other football clubs, even starting at Limerick, by the way.
A lot of people in the game are delighted for you. They think you've earned this opportunity over many years.
Yeah.
But there's others, you'll have heard the argument, that say you haven't won major trophies, you haven't yet managed at the very top level in terms of the biggest clubs in the Champions League, for example. Do you accept that argument? Will it require some adjustment on your part?
Yeah, but I've managed some world-class players. So Fernando Hierro, you've got a York AF, JJ Kocher, Gary Speed, Nicholas Anelka, Michael Owen, people like that, you know. So I've managed some really talented players, and the good thing about really talented players is they make your life easier because they know what you want, and it takes you less time to prepare, and they should take that responsibility. So working with the England elite players is going to be very exciting for me, because I think they can take on board what we want to do exceptionally quickly, because they're the best in this country. And hopefully, and when it comes to winning no trophies or winning no cups, well, unfortunately, me as an English manager never really got the chance to go right to the very top of the Premier League, and so you look at what I've achieved over the years. Like I said, you save a club, you've not been relegated. You know, the big achievements, they're difficult to do. They don't hold the same category as winning the FA Cup or the Capital One Cup or winning the league, but it's very important today in the Premier League to secure a football club's financial status, which, you know, is a difficult task in the end sometimes.
And you firmly believe, do you, that England are punching below their weight? You can get more
Absolutely,
out of this team.
yeah.
When you look at the talent at your disposal, you don't think England have found their level? You can get more out of this side, do you think?
Well, I think there's because it's such a youngish squad that the growth of potential is exceptionally good, and I would hope that the bitter experience that they felt in the Euros will stand them in good stead going into the future. It's given them a huge amount of experience on not wanting to feel like that next time round. But of course, the first task is making sure that we do enough and are good enough to qualify for the World Cup.
Sam, you mentioned your last chance in 2006. Did you ever think your chance would come again, and what makes you better equipped? Why did you get the job this time?
Well, 10 years more experience, 10 years in the Premier League. It's ironic that less than 12 months ago I sat in my villa in Spain thinking, what's the next venture? Like, I mean, what's the next avenue I'm going to go down? Luckily for me, I got pretty fed up pretty quickly, because football is everything to me. So I couldn't actually leave it alone, and I wanted to get back in. So I have to thank everybody at Sunderland for that opportunity, because that was the opportunity that came along at the time. I chose the challenge because of the success of saving the football club again. Put me in the public eye for when this position became available, and give me the opportunity for an interview. So I had a really good time at Sunderland. The fans were absolutely magnificent for me in that particular time, and I thank them all for that. And hopefully the England fans will enjoy my time with them just as much as the Sunderland fans did last season.
Much of the discussion already has been around style of play, and you talked there about getting results and finding a style to make players win matches. Do you think that results are the bottom line, regardless of the style? And also, how does that fit in with the England DNA, which is about the same style at all age groups?
Well, it's very important that we identify with the style in all other age groups. I don't think there's any doubt about that whatsoever. But England is a different kettle of fish. The first team is about being successful in whatever tournament you take part in, or qualifying for whatever tournament. And like I said, the players who are available, selection of the players, and will determine, and who we play against will determine what style of play we will choose. I expect the players to be very adaptable and very flexible. I don't expect a player at this level to be only wanting to play one position, one system. I think they should be much more adaptable and much more capable than that, especially at elite level. So it may be the same system, but maybe tinkered slightly to suit against the opposition, so we can actually win the game. Style of play has always been a it's always been a tag of for me that I can't shake, in terms of everybody thinks it's this style or that style. But I played with Jermaine Defoe down the middle on his own at 5'10" last year. So the style of play that's normally associated with me cannot be really associated with me when we spent all last year playing with Jermaine Defoe up front at 5'10". So I think that working on people's strengths is the main factor. We worked on Jermaine Defoe as a player that could not play up front on his own. That was it across the board. Jermaine Defoe cannot play up front on his own, Sam. What did Jermaine Defoe do? He played up front on his own all season with me, scored 15 goals in the Premier League, 18 in total. So whatever people may tell me, it doesn't stop me from trying something else or trying to create another opportunity. And like I said, players who join us, I hope, will enjoy the opportunity to play and try and win. That was a short answer, wasn't it?
Sam, congratulations on getting the job. I want to get at your priorities here, your diagnosis. When you're asked in the interviews, I'm sure you were, what are your number one priorities for putting right what has gone wrong with the England team? What did you tell them?
Well, I think that it's the years of experience that I've gained in all areas of the game, starting from a statistical basis. So you're accumulating data that is fact in terms of how you move forward. So when you accumulate data, it gives you an opportunity to make more and better decisions. And that data is collected by all the expertise in the area of your backroom staff. And then that gives you a profile or a picture of how you should set out your team to go and try and win. When you back that up against the opposition, you plan and prepare for each individual game for that particular game, and you get the lads ready to play, and then you review that game after, and you feed back, hopefully, as much information as you possibly can so the players can absorb it, and then we move on forward gradually from there. There's a huge amount of time to prepare at international level, which is a good thing for me. Not like the Premier League, which is, sort of day in and day out, and the overturn is very quickly. So that side of it can be done and obviously fed back to the players if and when. And like I say, creating a good environment is one of my key areas.
Do you think there's something in the Premier League setup which makes it peculiarly difficult in England to produce a successful team?
Yeah.
What is it?
No mid-season break, for one. I've been an advocate of that for the last 10 years or more. The demand physically and mentally on players is enormous. And obviously it's been in the best league in the world and the biggest brand in the world and creates the biggest money. I suppose the demand has to be on the players for that then. But if it would help the Premier League, and it would help us at international level if that was one of the first things we could try and achieve, because in my time, when we finished the Christmas period, January was always, and February was always the most difficult to try and get the players through.
Sam, what do you think is at the heart of what's gone wrong recently within the England squad? Some people talked about that lack of passion and a lack of team spirit, that we could have learnt a lot from Wales, for example, during the tournament. How do you crystallise that issue that needs to be dealt with?
Well, there's no lack of passion. I don't see any lack of passion anywhere for the players who play for England. The loss of form or the fact that they didn't perform at their very best wasn't through a lack of passion or determination or desire. So I have to identify, if I can, as quickly as I can, what went wrong. But I don't want to really spend too much time on the past. I want to really, think more about the future and about a future of improving these young elite players that we have. Not all young, of course. The experienced players are very, very important to me as well. And like I said, for me, it's trying to create an environment when we get together that's got a feel-good factor about it, and hopefully that will allow the lads to go over the white line and be able to deal with whatever is thrown at them at that international game.
You'd have heard the phrase before, I'm surprised it's not been mentioned yet. People talk about the job you've just taken as the poison chalice. Your thoughts on
Not for me. Not for me. I'm hardened. Over many, many years, you toughen yourself for whatever job you take, because you take the good with the bad. Otherwise, you don't do it. Don't bother. So I'm here because I want to be. I think I'm here because I want the challenge. I'm here because I think I can make the team better, and I think I'm tough enough to take it. So bring it on, eh, lads?
And finally then, how do you personally shake off the shadow of not getting the job 10 years ago? If you weren't good enough then, what's changed?
I was good enough then. So I don't know. Perhaps it's a political. I don't know. But you know, it's obviously a different and a much more streamlined. Without criticising the old regime too much, I think this is much more streamlined now. And I think behind with this development of this site and this development site, it's much more forward thinking than it was in 2006.
Sam, I'm sure it's hurt you just as much as it's hurt all of us, the repeated failure at major tournaments. To what degree is your biggest task getting in those players' heads and getting over any barrier they've got?
Well, as I said, that's 2 years away, and the most important thing now is to do what we've always done, is be very good at qualifying, and then once we've qualified, then we could really go to the in-depth levels and more in-depth levels about how we challenge ourselves to actually produce better results in a tournament, which is obviously the World Cup 2018. So looking into that is at a later stage. I think at this moment in time, it's players coming in and hopefully continuing to do what they've always done pretty well, and that's being able to qualify, because we all had great hopes for the Euros because of the way we qualified for them, which was absolutely a fantastic run of games. I hope the lads can continue where they left off from that point of view, and then when we actually get there, we can plan. I'll have had a huge amount of experience by that time and be able to give the answer to that question much better then.
Does the 50-year thing become a monkey on their back?
I think that's. I think there's more to be about this future going forward, and rather thinking about the past too much. I think that we can't change the past. We can learn from it, but we can't change it. Let's think about the future, and let's try and change that for the better of everybody.
You said about brightening things up. What would it take for us to see that Sam Allardyce dance again?
Well, obviously being successful, not just qualifying for the World Cup, hopefully eventually, but going as far as we possibly can. But I'm not so sure you'll catch me dancing in the near future.
Could you pass the microphone? Sam, a small team called Barcelona are training here today.
Yes, I believe so.
And if we look at the quality of your team, how great is the potential of this England side with the players and the facilities you have at your hands?
I think that we've got to say that it's not potential anymore. It's got to be reality now. It's got to stand up and be counted, because I think that these young players have had a lot of experience now, a lot of games, which I think is going to be very good going forward. Even though some of those experiences have been pretty bitter, it can be a great help into making sure they don't feel like that again, like I said before. So I think the potential is a word that I don't like to use too much, because it's the England first team, and having potential in there, you want the actual quality of the player to be producing his top performances immediately. Every single game will be scrutinised for them and for us and for everybody else. So I think that this group of players, this squad of players, is very experienced, and I think going forward there'll be producing more and producing more performances and better performance, hopefully, and better results.
What the fans ultimately want to know is this a team that can go on and win a major championship?
Well, I mean, it's a bit early for me to tell. Just I'm starting my first day and just getting my feet under the table. I think that time will tell as we move on what I actually feel like the potential outcome will be for the team.
Okay, everybody, thank you very much.
Thank you.